Welcome, everyone. Come in and make yourself comfortable. We're going to start in a few minutes. How are you, Jerome? Good to meet you.
Likewise, likewise. How you doing today? This evening, rather.
I'm great.
That's good. That's good. That's good. How was your day?
It was good. They always busy.
Yeah, I know. I know. I already know how that is. Yeah, yeah. So, how many guests you have?
um, I think all together, well, we had 21 people. So
Hmm.
let's see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I invited some people. Yeah, like I said, let's see what happens.
Well, you can have a good time with two people, so it's all
Oh, most
good.
definitely. Most definitely.
Not the quantity, it's the quality.
Right, right. That's
Al-
correct.
Always, always. I think I'm going to put this on gallery view. We're going to give people a little time to come on in. Yeah, I like that view better. How about that? I'm going to give people a little time to come on in. Miss Flowers, how are you? We're just chit chatting here. We're waiting for people to come in. We're going to give them about 5 more minutes before we get started. Good to see you.
Yes, yes, good to see you. Good evening. Good evening to you and everybody else here so far.
Right.
Yes.
Good evening.
Gregory, you made it. Good to see you.
Peace and love, Queen. How you doing? Peace and love
I'm
to all
good.
of you as well.
Likewise,
Good.
likewise.
Yes, same to you.
We're going to have a good time today. We're going to have a
Yes,
great
looking
time.
forward to
Listen,
it.
how
Looking
are
forward.
you? Listen,
I'm
he's
I'm
sitting
good,
back in the
Sonia.
cuff.
Yeah, can you hear me there?
I can hear you kind of low though for me.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, just I'm doing well. Happy New Year to everyone, and I'll see you shortly.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Philip, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Sonia?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. They're coming on in, so we're just chatting here. Let me admit a few more people. Well, I'm so happy. I'm so excited to see you. Told Jerome we can have a good time with two people. So there were 21 all together. So we're gonna have a great time tonight. Ian, how you been? Good to see you. Miss Burke, glad that you're joining us.
On any
Come on in. The chef is here. We're gonna talk about some healthy eating. The chef is here. We're gonna talk about some healthy eating tonight. Glad to see you.
Great. That's great.
Wonderful, wonderful. We're looking forward to it. Just waiting for a few more people to come in. Give them a few more minutes. Tia, how are you? Put your information in the chat room. You can be busy. You can put your contact information in the chat room. Put you to work now.
Hmm.
And what's going to happen? We'll get people time to come in, and I have a very short intro speech, and I'm going to turn it on over to Vince Williams. He's going to actually be your host this evening, okay? I'm going to let him do the heavy lifting.
Okay.
So you can start putting your info there. I'm going to step away from.
Oh, all the person here.
Hey, hey, Nana Cat.
Dear.
Okay, welcome. Ramona, see Ramona, our other guest speaker, Ramona is here in the house, all the way from Egypt. Girl, go ahead with your bad self. Glad that you're joining us here.
Thank you.
We're just giving people a little more time to come in. I'm gonna give them a couple of more minutes. It's only 5:33, and we got punctual people. I love that in you. Oh, punctual. We know how to do it. We know how to do it. There's Jerome Lee got guests over there. Little bitty, how you doing? Okay. She gonna jump on in too, huh? All right. So what we're doing now is just putting our contact information in the chat. We have the speakers are listed. Okay. Prepare your questions for them. We want this to be really interactive. Barbara, thank you so much for joining us. We're glad to see you. We're just waiting for a few more people to enter. Thank you so much for joining us.
Is this Miss Romona?
Give them 2 more minutes.
Hello.
Excuse me? Hello, who
This
is
is
that?
Barbara. How are you?
I'm great, Barbara. How are you? Thank you for
Yes,
joining
ma'am.
us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We're just giving everybody a little bit more time, 2 minutes, 2 minutes here,
Yes, ma'am.
and asking that you put your contact information in the chat room if you got a business, and put your business information in there. We're here to connect, okay? Probably almost everyone here is a business owner interested in starting a business, but we're here to connect. I'm here to learn, okay? These some heavy hitters here, okay? With experience from all different
Wow.
areas, you know. And so when I was putting this together, you know, usually when you have Zooms and webinars, they're on a particular subject matter, right? So I
Yes,
thought
ma'am.
I'd do this with different subject matters, different subjects. And because sometimes we need to step out of that comfort zone and learn from other people. And sometimes
Yes,
we just
ma'am.
don't know what we're missing because we so focused in on what our industry is doing and what we're doing that we miss out sometimes. And so, you know, it's always something new. Now my image won't come through. You see my picture, but
I do. I see
you
your
don't
picture.
see me
You
live.
just need to take your open your camera.
Okay, let me work on this. Let me work on this now.
Okay.
I don't even know where I would be close, but okay, give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second.
Oh, where's my?
It's usually all I have to do is hit that little mute. I mean, hit that little button. Here we go. Come on, come on, stop, stop, stop. Give me a second. Every time I do this, it's something new. I'm telling you the truth.
Mhm.
I'm telling you the truth. Give me 1 second. Let me admit this person.
Hi, Sonia.
Hey, Tina, glad to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm going to be sitting here in the background, just chilling and listening and learning.
Mhm.
I'm just going to have to get my power cord because my battery's low. But I'm going to turn my camera off because I'm going to be cooking and listening at the same time, okay?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, how
Hello.
are you? Glad to see you.
I'm so
Well, this
happy
is
to
how I'm
be
going to.
here. Ask questions. Where's Barbara? I sent Barbara here. Where is she?
Barbara is here.
I'm here.
I can't see you.
Oh, well, you're not going to see me. You are going to hear me.
Well, I guess you may not be seeing me either. But anyway,
You
I'm
have
going to work
15
on that.
people.
I'm
Where's
going to work on.
everybody? Come on.
I'm going to work
Yeah.
on that.
Right? Don't be
Every
afraid to
time I
turn
do
your
this, it's
cameras
something
on.
new. But let me do my
There's
intro.
Miss
We
Romona.
got a
It's
number of
okay.
people
No
here.
worries. Look at me.
No, it's
Look
not
at my
that.
face.
It's not that. I put some makeup on. It's not that. It's just that it says my camera's being used by another app. What app? Where? Where in the world?
Oh, you may have it on. You may have it on somewhere else. If
Yeah.
you have the tabs or something open, maybe you were in Messenger, or you may have gone into
Oh, I may have
StreamYard
been
or
settings and
something.
left, and
okay,
then
but I'll work on that because Vince is hosting this. So I'm not gonna worry about it. Vince, I'm the co-host. I'm in the chat room. I'm working the chat room anyway. So let me
okay.
say my speech and turn it over to Vince. And then if somewhere in this I figure this out, we just roll with it. But really, I'm the co-host. Vince is gonna run the show. Okay, so I'm all good. I'm all good
All
with
right,
that.
Vince.
So let me say my little speech, and we're gonna get on down to this. Welcome, and we want to thank each of you for taking the time to join us this evening. As I was telling Jerome, he asked me how my day was. Our days are all busy, busy, busy,
Yeah.
busy. And then when we jump off, I'm running downstairs to wash. And then in the morning, I got to be somewhere at 7:25. So if you're a business owner or you involved or you work, your days are full. They're all full. I'm Sonia Cassandra Purdue, founder of Chicago's Black Business Network. Vince Williams, Chief Operating Officer of Entrepreneurs Academy, is actually going to be our host this evening, and I'm going to be working the chat room. So for some reason, hey, there we go. Chicago's Black Business Network is a social media marketing company established in 2009. But as you know, businesses are always recreating themselves, and that's what I've been doing. More so than social media marketing, I love to connect people. And that's what we're doing today. That's exactly what we're doing. And I love it when a plan comes together and you all are making this happen. And my hope is, and my goal is that you make some beneficial connections out of this. That is what my goal is. And so connecting these speakers to you and you to them, because many of you are business owners. And you may have questions for them, but they may have questions for you as well. And that would be So hope you brought your questions, okay? And by participating, we hope that you will gain access to valuable information. So just raise your hand and Vince will call your name. And if you wish to place any questions in the chat room, we'll also take a look at those. But you just raise your hand, you just jump in and that type of thing. Keep yourself until you get it ready to come in so that we don't have all that background noise and everything. We appreciate that. If you stay to the end, you get that hotel savings card as our way of saying thank you and our way of saying we appreciate you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit over and play with it, and hopefully maybe I get my video going. Maybe I won't, but that's me right there. Okay. So I'm going to turn this program over to Vince Williams. Vince also owns a consulting company. He'll tell us about that as well. Okay. But what I would like you to do when you have a question, ask your questions. And I want to see those hands going up now from the speakers and everyone else. Hi, Minnie. Minnie's coming in. Thank you, Minnie, for joining us. Anthony's here. I want to see those hands going up from the speakers and from the guests, okay? And that's how we're going to get started. So let's turn the program over to Vince Williams, who in and of himself has 25 years or more of business experience. He's a business consultant and he does a lot of things. Vince, I'm turning this over to you. It's in your hands now. Thank you so much.
Excellent, Ms. Sonia. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. I hope you found it starting off right. I think you're in the right place, and this is what we're looking to do, is to network and connect people together with this new initiative from Chicago Black Business Network of Ask the Experts. I think we're waiting for one or two more of the panelists to join. I'm making notes of those that are coming in. So we're going to keep this very casual, very organic. As Sonia mentioned, my name is Vince Williams. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Entrepreneurs Academy. I'm also a business advisor or consultant that works on minority-owned businesses. I'm an instructor here at Entrepreneurs Academy, and I'm also a third-generation small business owner right here in Chicago. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Entrepreneurs Academy, we're a social enterprise organization that's located here in Chicago that provides technical assistance, entrepreneurial education, and resources for those seeking to start a business, purchase or acquire a business, grow their business, and in some cases, assistance with dissolving that business. We cater to entrepreneurs from the Black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBTQIA+ community, veterans, and those that have been justice impacted or formerly incarcerated. Our programs and our workshops focus on sharing startup resources, help you identify clients and customers, register and document your new business, that new venture, determine the cost to operate that venture. We also provide some workshops on marketing concepts, and for many of you, we share access to organizations that can provide access to capital and access to credit, which we know has been a big pain point for many of us entrepreneurs of colors. We're excited to be working with you participants today that are coming on board, and we also have some other experts that will be joining this moving forward, like insurance agents, mentors, legal counselors, and all that you can learn more from. If you want to learn more about Entrepreneurs Academy and the programs that we're doing, please reach out to us at www.entrepreneursacademy.net. That's www.entrepreneursacademy.net. N-E-T. You can join our mailing list and receive tons of information that we send out. I'd like to talk a little bit, and I'm sure Philip Fairweather, who's going to be on the panel as well, will talk more about this in detail. Some information about our flagship program called Fast Launch Entrepreneurship Educational Training, or FLEET. This program is going to be starting in February of this year, 2024. We're going to be offering 3 programs around the city of Chicago. They are in-person programs on the west side, the south side, and the south suburbs of Chicago. And in addition to that, we're going to be featuring a new festival that's going to be in the beginning months of the summer called our Wealth and Wellness Festival, where we celebrate, congratulate, and feature small businesses. We have food trucks, wellness and yoga workshops, fitness, financial literacy workshops, fitness workshops, And we also curate a really great discussion on entrepreneurship, mental health and wellness, and community building allyship. Please save that date. It'll be on June the 1st of 2024 here in Chicago. But I'm not going to waste any more time. We're talking about Entrepreneurs Academy and what we're doing there. Because again, we are super excited to participate in Sonia Cassandra Purdue's Ask the Expert, where we have identified the opportunity to share with you some of our experiences and the perspectives from 6 panelists today that's going to work with you and talk with you and curate, again, some of the questions that you will share through this. As Sonia mentioned, if you have some questions, please raise your hand. I will be moderating this. After each panelist tells you a little bit more about their subject matter expertise and their business perspectives, I will call on you. Well, you'll be able to ask your question to the expert there. If we are not able to get to all of your questions, please just include them in the chat, where we will then get the expert to answer that question, and we will get that answered over to you. We want to start creating an ecosystem of support for entrepreneurs of color here, so this is where we're starting with this here as well. We are asking that you mute your microphones just so that we don't have any background noise or anything there from their surroundings as we embrace this new way that we are communicating through technology. And so when you do have that question, just put in, raise your hand, and I will be able to get to you. If you don't want to speak, just go ahead and put that down in the chat, and we'll be able to get that from you. There's no set agenda, but again, we're hoping to share some insight into each panelist's respective organization and their expertise. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to hear tonight from Miss Romona Myles, Chef Keidi Awadu, Mr. Harold Dennis, Miss Fallon Flowers, Mr. Philip Fairweather, and Dr. Anthony Gantt. So without further ado, let's begin with our first panelist, Miss Romona Myles, who will share some information about and expertise about our information. So, Miss Romona, the floor is all yours.
Oh, wow. I didn't know I was first.
Welcome to
Thank you.
2024.
Thank you all. Yes, thank you. Happy New Year to everyone. And thanks everyone that I invited for showing up. That's amazing. I could see some familiar faces on here. It was a pleasure to hear what you're doing, Vincent, around Chicago. I'm a native of Chicago right now. I'm not there, but that's amazing, and I know some people I can send your way. So this, having something like this is perfect, because you don't know what you don't know. And I think I've seen some of your information and clicked on it, but until having this, well, I guess face-to-face, virtually, paints a better picture. And I do have plenty of people that you can probably help. So Sonia, thank you for inviting me here. So my name is Romona Myles. I've been online. I joke around and say I'm a dinosaur. I've been on here for so long. But it's been more of a learning experience. And I used to wanted to have something on here when we were calling this a web page. We didn't have the term website at the time. So I had tapped into this space through an infomercial on TV where they said you can make money off of the World Wide Web. And this was in 1994, I think. And that was back when we had to install those floppy disks, if anybody remember those. Those floppy disks from AOL, right? So that just goes to show you how long this has been going on, and to think now where we are, like globally, like we were still sending out pen pal letters at that time and trying to dial up and connect on the internet. Now I am off of US soil, still talking to people, seeing them on a screen right here in front of me. So this is amazing. And with that being said, we have thousands of people daily coming online, wanting to start businesses, wanting to expand on their hobbies and and really enjoy life without the traditional way of bringing in an income. And as I got older and turned 50, I started to really connect with more women 50 and over who were struggling with very simple things to get online. And when 2020 happened, it really flooded my space, finding out that a lot of professional people didn't have the knowledge of what it takes to take their profession offline to online. So I found myself helping a lot of women just with, web one page maybe, or maybe changing some things on their website, taking their business information and putting it online where people can find them differently from having office hours. That's different. And so I sort of fell into this groove with what I didn't want to do anymore, which was just build websites. I used to design WordPress themes and convert them. I used to build them with like in Dreamweaver and stuff like that, and then convert them into WordPress and then build websites that way. And I had been doing that for a few years and I wanted to stop, only to find myself back in this space again, but serving differently. So with that being said, Tech Savvy Women Over 50 was developed, and it's just started at first just to be a project where I would get a group of women together and we would just, network. And that didn't work out the way I had planned, simply because I didn't feel like I was serving them the way I can now. So now I've transitioned and pivoted over into Tech Savvy Women Over 50 being a magazine. And inside that space, we collaborate, and I'm taking them through a process of from wherever they are now to their end goal, which is to increase their clientele, get more people, get their products out in front of more people through the magazine. And then there's this collaboration thing going on in the background with affiliate marketing and them being able to set up affiliate links for themselves. So I think it's very unique. It's in an infancy right now. And I said I have a few people that I did invite. So one of them, I think all three of them will be on the cover in different months throughout this year. So I'm excited about that. And what I would like to bring to the table is to lessen the overwhelm of getting started. Most of us, what I had experienced, think we need a full-blown website, and then you have people saying you only need one page and they don't know what that means. And so what I have figured for to get someone started is thinking of funnels. So when ClickFunnels came out, everybody was like, oh, funnel. And sometimes I've seen people struggle with that. So as I learned the back end of ClickFunnels, I realized that for most people, they just want to start. So where's a good starting point for them with the technology? Like, they don't need everything. So what do they need? So we do an assessment and start where they are. So a funnel is itself a website. And what I narrowed down and started to niche down even more was to help them with whatever product or service that they're offering at the moment, and then build from there. So it could just be 3 or 4 pages. It could be, a page where a landing page where they'll download maybe a freebie or something, and then they'll take a person into that funnel and create that customer journey for that person and nurture them all the way to a purchase. And then I also realized that doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes people just want to get to just tell me what I need to do to buy what you have, because I know you can help me. So then I started to dive a little bit into the difference between a marketing funnel and a sales funnel. And that's my groove. That's my zone. And that's where I am. So if anybody has questions about, funnels and what's needed for them at the moment when they're starting something new, or they want to launch something, or they want to take a product or service that sort of, it was good, but they had to update. So they're going to tweak it a bit and take it back out to the market. Those are the type of questions answers to questions that I can provide, if that makes any sense to everybody.
Oh, it totally does, Ramona. No, thank you so much. And I appreciate you sharing when you first started speaking, that you have some contacts that you love to forward along to me. So I look forward to seeing how we can assist that in the Chicago area. If you don't mind, I do see a hand raised there from Mr. Fairweather. Where are you located now? You said you were formerly in Chicago. Do I understand that are you in Egypt?
Yeah, I'm in Cairo.
Is that right? I love it. Yeah. International. Outstanding. So being able to share that. We'll go ahead and start with you, Philip, if you want to unmute yourself and
Sure.
then go ahead and ask your question.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Vince. Nice to meet you, Ramona. Happy New Year to everyone. I know it's a little struggle trying to get back into the flow of things in the first week. You're in Cairo. I just got back from Costa Rica, so I'm slow getting back into the groove. But I had a question for you. So, tech savvy women over 50, do you have a place for women in all technologies, or is this just websites?
Yeah, I guess I need to also clarify the technology. What I do is I help women, especially if they're transitioning from offline to online, but if they're already online and they're struggling with getting some of the back end things ready, on their site so that they can communicate, they can follow up, which would be email marketing, helping them with their email sequencing, that kind of thing. I can, and I still do build websites. So if that's a yes or no kind of answer, but for most, it's overwhelming, and maybe someone's not at that price point. So I'm finding a place where we can bring the cost down and help them get started, and then build as we go. Build out as we go. Yeah.
Gotcha. No, because I've been looking for someone that's versed in fabrics for wearable tech and sensors. So that's why I was asking, is it a variety of technologies, medical, sensors, drones, or was it really focused on getting online and websites? But you made it clear.
Getting online and websites. Now, are you talking about like applications that perform, that could be built for those products and services? I'm not really clear.
Yeah, we're a small group here tonight, everyone. So Phil, if you don't mind, go ahead and share your business side, your business with the others.
Yeah, that's what I did, and I just took your information down, so we can circle back offline.
Okay, yeah. I finally opened the chat, and I'm trying to read and see what and see what's going on there. Yeah.
All right, perfect. If you can go ahead and take your hand down there, Phil.
Yeah.
Excellent. Was there any other questions there for Ramona? If not, I'll go ahead and go to our next speaker. Anyone raise your hand or in the chat? All right, perfect. If you do have a question for one of the past speakers that come up, don't hesitate to put it in the chat or reach out to me directly in a direct message, and I'll be sure to get that question answered for you. So to keep this moving along, again, we're excited to be a part of this Ask the Expert, where we are featuring 6 entrepreneurs and subject matter experts to share their expertise with us as participants here in this new 2024 year. So next up, I'm going to have Chef Keidi Awadu. And Chef Awadu, please, if I am butchering that name, do not penalize me. Just correct me there, and we'll go ahead and keep this going, where you're going to share some information on health and wellness as a specialist in that arena. So unmute yourself, and you are all on board.
All right. It is a pleasure, absolutely, to be with everyone today. And the first presentation was very inspiring. I think you give us a great indicator, Ramona, of what the day is going to be like. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you. I am a researcher, broadcaster, author, nutritional, clinical nutritionist, functional medicine practitioner. But I really want to sound today more like a data analyst, statistician. So I'm going to go into a presentation I recently broadcast entitled Health is wealth. Here are the numbers. In this broadcast, I listed the many ways that committing to a supremely healthy lifestyle can be a critical move toward increasing personal wealth. Simple lifestyle changes will affect your bottom line. So I'm going to go into a number of these points. I'm going to do my best to keep this to under 10 minutes. I think I can do a good job of that. So, number one, health is wealth. It's one of the shortest poems that many of us know, and it's something we should keep in mind every day, because every day is an opportunity to invest in our health with an expected return on that investment. The links between poverty and poor health are deeply interconnected, and this creates a vicious cycle that exacerbates both social and economic disparities. 10 specific links between poverty and poor health include: number one, limited access to healthcare; number two, malnutrition; number three, substandard housing; number four, high stress levels; number five, limited education; number six, lack of health insurance; number seven, risky behaviors; number eight, reduced access to safe water and sanitation; number nine, occupational hazards; and number 10, social determinants. Poverty's impact on health is multifaceted, affecting both physical and mental well-being. And addressing poverty is crucial for improving overall public health. This society is contributing to increased poverty and a decrease in the middle class. As a data-based analyst, what I call scientific futurist, we have to acknowledge that in the United States, really the trend has been around since the 70s, but it's been really consolidated since 2008. The middle class is substantially shrinking. So as we're being pressured, we've got to make sure that we retain this formula: health is wealth. Point number two I want to make: medical bankruptcy is one of these things that is hollowing out middle class families. I have an article from Reuters News, September 21, 2022. The article covered the fact that the Biden administration announced plans to remove medical bills from Americans' credit reports in a push to end what is called coercive debt collection tactics that affect millions of consumers. Vice President Kamala Harris told reporters that more than 100 million Americans had unpaid medical debt. The Brookings Institution think tank also found big gaps in medical debt statistics, with some 80% of debt held by households with zero or negative net worth, and communities of color hit especially hard. For instance, 27% of Black households hold medical debt, compared with 16.8% of non-Black households in the United States. Now, this cost per citizen of the national healthcare economy is outrageous. A total of $4.3 trillion for a nation of 331 million people, or $12,914 per capita. That's the national healthcare economy. The growth rate is substantially lower in 2021 than it was in 2020, when the growth rate for healthcare in the United States was increasing at 10.3% per year. Now, when we put these figures on the individual, the out-of-pocket expenses per capita is crippling, is outrageous, and we wonder, where is our wealth? The average out-of-pocket annual spending in the United States varied widely, depending on factors such as insurance coverage, age, a person's health status. On average, an individual with private health insurance might have faced annual out-of-pocket costs in the range of between $1,000 to $5,000 or more. These include deductibles, co-payments, and co-insurance. From my calculations, for all Americans, out-of-pocket expenses average $1,812 per person. So we're going to have to start considering recapturing some of that money. Actually, there was multiple figures. This next paragraph, let me clarify that. Even if someone has health insurance, there may still be a large amount to be paid out of pocket for healthcare services. Total out-of-pocket healthcare payments in the U.S. continue to increase, has surpassed $433 billion in 2021, amounting to $1,312 for every person in that country. Now, for people who did not have the insurance, that was that $1,812 figure. Going forward, this is what I really want to focus on. We should expect a reasonable return on investment in a healthy lifestyle. That is the key. Living a healthy lifestyle can indeed lead to better economic health by generating a positive return on investment. Here are 7 ways in which a healthy lifestyle can result in financial benefits. Number 1, reduced healthcare costs. Number 2, increased productivity. Number 3, lower health insurance premiums. Number 4, longevity and retirement savings. Number 5, decreased absenteeism. Number 6, fewer over-the-counter medications. And this is a side note, 63% of American adults over the age of 20 are currently on prescription drug medications. 1 out of every 6 of those is on 5 or more simultaneously. This is a crisis we're going to have to face. And number 7 of the benefits of a healthy lifestyle, improved mental health. Couple more points before I wrap it up. Eating high on the hog is expensive and it is deadly. Luxurious high-end foods are typically more expensive, which can strain your budget and lead to overspending on food. And I would include in that eating out of the home is for many families quite a drain on the household budget. Eating high on the hog, poor nutritional value. Many high-end foods are rich in fats, sugars, and calories, but low in essential nutrients, leading to poor dietary quality. Eating high on the hog is associated with weight gain. Frequent consumption of high-calorie, indulgent foods can contribute to weight gain and obesity, increasing the risk of associated health issues. In one of my books, I document 33 acute and chronic diseases, mostly chronic diseases associated with excessive weight gain and obesity. Number 4, increased risk of chronic diseases. Diets high in unhealthy fats and sugars are linked to a higher risk of chronic diseases such as cardiovascular disease, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, and 5 different cancers. Next point is a lot of us, by eating high on the hog, are engaging in unsustainable eating habits. A diet centered around expensive and indulgent foods and beverages may not be sustainable in the long term, leading to fluctuations in eating habits, which often accompany fluctuations in weight. A couple more points and then we're going to wrap and ask for any comments. Eating high on the hog is leading to financial stress. Spending excessively on luxury foods, restaurants can lead to financial stress and impact overall financial well-being. Point number 7, there is a dietary imbalance. Luxury foods can lead to an imbalance in essential nutrients, potentially causing deficiencies in vitamins if you're in the UK, minerals, and fiber. Eating high on the hog quite often is lack of variety, and it is variety in natural foods that provides the broadest spectrum of nutrients critically necessary to sustain life, longevity, and disease resistance. 2 more points. Number 9, social and cultural implications. Constantly indulging in expensive foods can create social and cultural divides, and not everyone can afford such luxuries. And then lastly, the environmental impact. Some high-end foods have a much larger carbon footprint due to production and transportation, contributing ultimately to environmental issues. So that's just a brief of what I do. I am the producer of a documentary film called Chewicide, the movie, which talks about this infatuation with food that literally is to die for. So I'm hoping that you heard something from your brother today that informs, inspires, excites you, and maybe I'll get a question or a comment from you. Again, my brand, Living Superfood, which I have the website, livingsuperfood.com, where we say food is nature's most perfect medicine.
That's phenomenal. Wow. I'm inspired and I'm definitely more informed. So it looks like we have a couple of questions here. And again, I apologize. Did I pronounce the name correctly? Is it?
Well, you did good. Next time, Keidi, Keidi, sounds like Speedy.
Okay, Keidi.
Speedy Keidi. The women used to call me Quick Draw, but I'm not even going to go into that. And the last name, you got that one. You got that one perfect, Brother Vincent. Keidi Awadu. Thank you, my brother, for this invitation.
Well, how about I do Chef Awadu? How's that?
Chef Keidi is how it's easiest to find me on a search engine. Chef Keidi.
Okay, and just so for the other's sake, is it livingsuperfood.com?
That's correct. No S.
Right,
livingsuperfood.com.
All right, perfect. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. It looks like Sonia, did you have a question? Did you want to go ahead and start?
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you for being here and for all that great information. I'm not sure what city and state you're in, but we're in Chicago, so our demographics are still segregated. And so, yes, a few years ago, and it stays on my mind and in my heart, that the demographics for the north side of Chicago, which is predominantly white, and the south side of Chicago was predominantly Black, there was a 15-year gap there in longevity. And that was just, it was just so shocking to me. Now, what city and state are you in?
I just push it up a second time in the chat. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of you come out here to. Oh, Las Vegas is almost like being in Arkansas in the late 1970s. It's not just segregated. It's been kind of left behind. I was in Los Angeles for 30 years, and the economy and the density of population, the freeways chased me out, but I didn't want to go so far from the West Coast. So Las Vegas is just 4 hours east of Los Angeles.
Okay, and I have, yes, that information stays on my mind. So yes, poverty is killing us. And of course, what we eat is killing us. But that gap was just mind-blowing to me. Okay.
Absolutely, it was, Sonia. Absolutely.
Yes. You remember seeing that, Vince?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And I want to ask you this question. We got all these old eating habits. Okay. So it's not an individual thing, it's a cultural thing, and it's a family thing. And if you go to the grocery store and you look at carts, yeah, I be nosy. You look at people's shopping carts and they get all of this sugar, this pop, these potato chips, all of these stuff. Not that I don't eat them every now and then because I'm heavy. I'm heavier than I'm supposed to be. And all of this stuff in these shopping carts. And do we even know how to begin changing the eating family, the whole family's eating habits when we're still going to the grocery store and we got all of this stuff in there? I don't even think people need that much food. I'm not sure, but they got all of this stuff in these shopping carts, and it is the fat food. It is the pork. It is all this stuff. What, just briefly, what can help us lead? Maybe these conversations, but they're not here listening to these conversations. What can help us lead these people as a family, our people as a family, to better understanding of healthy eating?
Sonia, your passion is infectious. There is a word that I didn't coin the word, but I adapted its use for what we're talking about today. The word is called chewicide, where we're eating ourselves to premature chronic illness, and early death. And when we look at the data when it comes to life expectancy, the standard African American diet, so-called soul food, is the most deadly ethnic cuisine within the United States kind of tapestry and fabric of different culinary. There's something I want everyone to keep wholeheartedly in mind. And at least one person repeat this. Sonia, if your mic is open, old habits die hard, new habits form quickly. What did I say?
Old habits die hard,
Old
new habits form quickly.
I'd say that a dozen times a day as I daily work to create new habits, reinforce my new habits. I'm very proud to say. Now, I'm going to ask someone to guess my age at the end of this next statement. I am in record-breaking territory. I'm the only person my age who I have now for 19 days in a row done in my first set of push-ups of the day, 300 plus push-ups. 1 week ago, I set a new lifetime record for push-ups, 375 in a single set. That's no pause, just count them out from 1 to 375. Now, Sonia or anyone else, would you like to guess my age? Please be nice now, don't be mean.
I'm gonna say about 65.
I was
Not
thinking
bad.
58.
All right. I have just turned 68 years young.
Wow.
And I'm very, very proud to say I weighed myself this morning and I weighed 1.5 pounds less than what I weighed at age 25, which is what most of us is our peak lifetime health status as adults, age 25. So what can we do about this? We're going to change the old habits to new habits. New habits form quickly. I am the author of 53 published books, and I'm very proud of that. I have 10 books that came out just in 2023 alone. Most of my books are on health, wellness, culture, and economic transformation. There is so much that we can do. As Black people in America, we spend $91 billion a year on full service supermarket chains, and we don't own any of the chain stores. So there's going to be economic components to our transformation as there will be personal habits. And last point I'll make, because I 53 books, I can list this stuff forever. The last point I'll make is we're better off when we function collaboratively, collectively, in groups. Because when we function as solitary citizens in America, we get picked off one person at a time, one household at a time, one family at a time. And that has been bankrupting us. Any other comments or questions? I'd love that.
That's outstanding. Yeah, it looks like we have you and really, really good stuff. Keidi. Phil, you got your hand raised?
Yeah, so it's really fascinating to listen to you, Keidi. I've considered myself an athlete and a wellness person most of my life.
All right.
But these last few years, I've seen a complete decline in my health, my weight, my energy, all that stuff. And I still eat pretty healthy, but every time it's hard to find healthy foods that are not processed, that don't go bad before I can eat them. How do you even start expanding your palate? Everywhere I travel, I try to bring back new recipes and everything like that. But with the time, I find myself now just working and coming home, sitting and working more.
Yeah, and that's going to cause your deterioration to speed up based upon that habit. You got to break that habit ASAP.
I can feel it, and I know, because of my entire life, that's kind of why I'm still okay. I can still do stuff, climb mountains. I can still work out. I can still do stuff. I just don't feel good. And looking at you, and I'm a couple of years behind. I'll be turning 63 in June, and I just want to get back on track, man. I just feel
There's multiple things you can do. Number one, I just typed into the chat one of my books that is I have two books that are kind of like my health biographies. This particular one is called Furiously Vegan. And the second book, which is more recent, is entitled Living Superfood Life to the Max. And so I tell what my daily routine is, what my nutrition is. I show you in Living Superfood Life, I have a couple of dozen recipes of what I eat. But here's the thing. If you can't do it on your own, you're going to have to bring in a coach. And guess what, Philip? Bringing in a coach sooner than later serves your best self-interest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no doubt.
So I do coach. I have a wonderful client list. Some of my clients have reversed diabetes in 14 days. I have had clients that have reversed hypertension, drug dependent, high blood pressure in as little as one client their blood pressure went down 29 points in 18 hours.
Wow.
I teach what I know. I do what I know. We have another class coming up very soon. The class is not cheap, but it will be less than twice what you spend out of pocket every day on healthcare. I'm very proud to say for 40 years, I've avoided the doctors and even the dentists with the system that I have covering how to maintain and optimize the functioning of 18 separate body systems that work together to give you your health, longevity, and vitality. I'd love to be your coach, Brother Philip.
I would love for you to be my coach. I've been
I'll
a coach
type,
to somebody else.
I'll type my number
barely
in the
have one of
chat
mine.
right now.
All right, excellent.
That's the networking we're hoping to create here. That's what's up, man. I love it. Very good stuff.
We just witnessed something so beautiful. Wow.
Absolutely.
I don't get to see this often. I don't think I've ever had to even say something like this. But I just saw two very well put together Black men come together and say, hey, I'm going to help you. You can help me. It's like, what just happened here? Like, I would like to pause for a minute and take this in. I've never seen this. And wow.
We are making history, Miss Romona.
Yes.
We are doing it, changing it.
Thank you for the
narrative,
invitation.
right? Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
I love it. I love it. Keidi, it looks like we have another question there. Minnie, did you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, hi everybody. How y'all doing? My name is Minnie Bandy. I'm part of the Cannabis Equity Coalition Illinois. So I'm really holistic, but I'm more into cannabis and stuff like that. But I'm 61 years old and I don't really have no doctors, no sickness, no illness, and nothing like
That's
that.
right.
So I mean, I'm real good, but I mean, I'm holistic one way, you doing it one way, but I do it another one. I mean, cannabis is natural. It comes from the ground. It was here when we got here. It's how people abuse it and use it that help them. I mean, it's a medical way. I mean, it even helps you lose weight and all kind of different things. People think because you smoke, you eat up everything. That's not true. I mean, it's a medical and all kind of stuff. So just to comment, and I'm with you on that, being healthy, but yeah, I just do it a different way.
Well, don't think that you don't do it with me. Okay. This is one of my books, and excuse me, I have my chroma key on. The book is called Industrial Hemp Uses and Opportunities, and many. Not only is some 3,500 documented uses of medical marijuana, cannabidiol, and different components there in history. This book states that this is the plant that can heal the world. Now, I'm really excited. Since this book came out, a group in Ghana got their hands on the book, and they got the Ghanaian parliament to change the law and allow them to grow low THC industrial hemp. And they used that then to secure a $19 million deal with a Portuguese company.
Yes.
We, as Africans in America, would be foolish to overlook the explosive opportunity to invest in cannabis development on the African continent. American cannabis development is pretty much kind of sewn up. There's room for individuals to make money in it, but the big avenues have been sewn up. But Ghana, Malawi, Kenya, Uganda, and other African countries, it's growing rather fast, are opening up their economies to the new hemp/cannabis economy. We better get there and we better get there as fast as possible. If you're interested in talking about that, the book is again Industrial Hemp Uses and Opportunities, but my phone number is in the chat.
And you can talk to me about it because, like I said, I have an old organization and I know everybody pretty much in Chicagoland, Illinois now that got anything to do with cannabis growing, craft growers, anything. We work on policy work. We do whatever it takes to make our cannabis business grow inside of Illinois because we've been shafted so much about so many things. You know what I'm saying? And they said it was for us, but it's not for us in Illinois. They lied to us.
Let me give you an inside tip, Minnie, and I'm going to stop because I can go on all day long. Y'all be mad at me. Minnie, you and I and this group you're working with have got to get to Kenya this year because right now the Kenyan parliament is working to change those laws. I've been invited to speak at a conference over there, including His Excellency William Ruto. We need to get over there as soon as possible and put our plans into place. There's just too much money to be made and too much health wellness to be promoted for us to stand aside and act like that those African markets are not real.
100%. I'm with you.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna, for the sake of time, that's really good stuff, Minnie. Thank you for sharing that. Chef, wow, powerful, powerful stuff. And again, like you said, Miss Romona, really, really good to see some brothers combine together and talk about health and what that means. And I think this is a great segue for our next expert that we're going to have, Miss Fallon Flowers, who's a nursing education specialist. So, Miss Flowers, please unmute yourself and go ahead and join us and share your expertise.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm honored to be here and also to follow behind Chef Keidi, who has been, just having a whole lifetime of health and wellness and giving back not only of himself, but just for others, especially with that many books. My God, I mean, hats off to you. Absolutely, indeed, sir. And I'm so also just very grateful to follow behind Miss Romona and then and just being invited here today. And so, as mentioned, my area of expertise is surrounding nursing education. And so I'm otherwise known as the Black Pre-Nursing Coach. I am a board certified women's health nurse practitioner. I've been in nursing altogether for the last 13 years. And as a nurse practitioner for going on the last 7 years. I specifically work in women's health. So I'm a board certified women's health nurse practitioner. But how my story got started and just my background behind what I do is because we've all seen that there's just a shortage in nursing in general. And we've really seen this, especially since the pandemic, started, and how there was just a lot of health disparities that were really brought up. And Miss Sonia actually kind of pointed that out about what showed up in the Healthy Chicago 2.0 and so many other reports about the health disparities, but especially in Black communities. But I had an opportunity many years ago to teach about a career in nursing to high school students and give them the experience and prepare them to apply to nursing school. And I did this time and time again for about 5 years. And I looked up at that group, and over the time period that I was doing this and providing this opportunity for these high school students to be exposed to a career in nursing, very few were Black. And so from that, I decided to try to make sure to make efforts for more students of color or people that look like me to join the industry. However, the program that I was teaching with did not want us to do our own marketing. And so that's where I wound up deciding to go out on my own and create programming and education and visit high schools and start helping students who wanted to go into nursing, and people started sending their nieces and cousins and daughters, et cetera, to me that had a interest in a career in nursing. And so that's kind of where my background lies with that. But it wasn't just the fact that I didn't see enough Black students and they were kind of blocking the way, so to speak, of me helping students of color to learn. But I know from being Black, from being from the South Side of Chicago, I see what Miss Sonia talks about every single day, especially in my work as a nurse practitioner. I see it every single day, the health disparities, the medical mistrust every single day, how people don't want to come to the doctor. And when they do come, they don't believe what we say, and they want to, and all of these things, or they don't believe it until they hear it from a Black provider. And they don't believe it until they have someone that looks like them. And so when we have medical mistrust, something that we know that helps that is something called racial congruence, or sometimes called racial concordance. So when we have people that look like us, we're a lot more likely to share our experiences, to be more open to the advice that they're giving, to listen, to try something different, to try something new. I mean, we just heard it right here on this call, some questions and things that were being asked about, hey, well, what do you think about this? And so that really makes a difference. So not only is racial concordance important, but again, going back to what they sometimes call the Fauci effect from the pandemic, which was, of course, Fauci talking about everything related to COVID. And a lot of people decided that they wanted to go into a field of nursing. However, what a lot of people don't know and a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to go to college, for instance. I'm going to go and I'm going to go be a psychology major, or I'm going to be a journalism major. Yes, you can do that with certain industries, but nursing, unfortunately, is not one that you can just go and do. It's very complex. It's a little all over the place. There's lots of different paths. The thing is that when we think about entering the field of healthcare in general, especially like when we think about medicine, it's very streamlined. Most people, when they know that they want to be an MD, they start in high school, they start working on those grades, those extracurriculars, and doing all the things that they need to do to make sure that they're fully prepared to get into that career. So by the time they're accepted into the college that they want to go to, they know that that college is pretty much a pipeline straight into medical school. And then they go to medical school, and then they do their residency, and voila, they're a doctor. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, when it comes to nursing. And what I also saw in my path, in my journey a long time, was that I was seeing a lot of Caucasian and non-Black students who were in their young 20s going for the same path that I was as a nurse practitioner as what I am today. But meanwhile, those same young 20-somethings at the time that were Black were just regrouping themselves after going to college for a year, failing out, and having to restart again, go to a community college just to get started. So they were in the pre-nursing phase of the whole, educational path. Meanwhile, I had Caucasian classmates who had already been in the pre-nursing phase. They had already become a nurse, and they were already in nurse practitioner school, getting ready to come out and make that bank. And it's just like, why do we have such a difference and a disparity where we keep seeing our Black students and that Black youth being sent away to college, and then, all don't make it through that first year or that first couple of years. And then next thing you know, they're coming back and they're trying to go back. It's like they're going backwards. And I'm not just saying it as a they, I really need to say it as a we, because that was also a part of my story too. I'm someone who went away to college, wasn't fully ready, didn't pass my first year, but tenacity and God stayed with me, and I pushed through, and I went to community college, finished my degree there, came back to the university, finished that. Then I went to nursing school. So I was one of those students, but it doesn't make any sense. If you are a student and you are in high school and you know that this is something that you want to do, why are we going all these different ways, misguided? You don't have a coach, you don't have a guide, you don't have somebody that's been there before you, and you waste a lot of time and a lot of money because a lot of advisors are not advising correctly. They didn't go down the nursing path, and they're only assisting these students to make sure that that they are tailored to go to that school's nursing program, not all programs. But what a lot of people don't know is that there is high percentage rates of students being turned away. And this is qualified applicants. We're talking about, 67,000 students a year, 70-something thousand students a year that have the grades and have the GPA, have those test scores and everything, but they're still being turned away. You can imagine how many of those students are Black, that are being turned away from nursing programs. So although I'm primarily talking about high school and young people, I work with all people, people of all ages that are Black men and women who want to be nurses, but I really want to make sure that when I help people that I'm helping them to save the most time and the most money as possible with things that I have done for myself and things that I've helped other students with. And so that's primarily what I do. And then, also I put on programming throughout the year as well when it comes to electronic and in-person events and things like that, and work with high schools, mentor groups, youth development. If you have a church, sorority, fraternity, human resources, whatever that thing is, that group or organization I love to partner with. But really, here I am today. I just want to make sure that if anybody wants to go in healthcare, they want to know the difference between all the types of nursing, they want to compare it to MD, to PA, they have a loved one that wants to go into healthcare nursing, to please ask away what you want to ask, or if it's anything, off topic from this, women's health related, I got you on that too.
That's phenomenal, Fallon. Thank you so much. I love that you're doing that. I'll start off the questioning here. I'm a little bit younger than Philip. I always give him a hard time on that. But back in the day, I used to see where a lot of Black women, Black men, if you will, were going into either teaching and nursing. And I think that was because, educationally, that's where they kind of pushed us towards, right? Our counselors pushed us towards. And I'm married to a physician now. So my question is, why do you think that we are seeing such a shortage in people of color going into that field, knowing that there is so much opportunity and, like you said, room for growth, and we see the disparities there. I personally know of about 2 or 3 travel nurses that are, like you said, getting that bag. They are making some serious money, right? So what could you share with us that maybe we can kind of put to the new youth, or maybe those that realize, either college or some other type of field is not for them, but maybe nursing or this type of healthcare where we see the disparities could be taken advantage of?
Thank you so much for that question. And I want to say also thanks to your wife for her service. Because it's something out here. It really is day and age to be serving in healthcare. But I would say the reason why we're not part of why we're not seeing it is still because I say exposure is key. So I like to say that a lot. And also for some people, it's still the aspect of it's hard to be what you don't see. So, like literally today, I went with my mother to the doctor's appointment. The doctor was white, the resident was white, the nurse was white, only the medical assistant and the front desk check-in staff was Black. That's it. So and we could all think about that when we go and we're in the healthcare setting. If we go to the ER for ourselves, urgent care, immediate care, if we go with a family member, when we go to the doctor's office for our annual physical or whatever that is, how many times do you see a Black doctor, a Black nurse, a Black nurse practitioner? It's quite hard to see, to imagine yourself doing that. And sometimes I think we don't give ourselves enough credit and realizing, no, I actually can do that, and every time I have a patient that says, I'm a CNA or I'm in nursing school or, I think I want to do what you do, I encourage them. I know I'm not supposed to be talking about all that stuff, but I pull up websites. I'm showing them stuff because I want them to do this. It's like, don't sell yourself short. I understand taking the stepwise approach for retirement money if you want to do CNA and MA and some of these other things first, but don't get stuck there, because that's what that happens a lot to our people. When we look in nursing homes especially, you see a lot of Black LPNs, which is a licensed practical nurse. And so that is a nurse. However, that's not someone who can kind of go up further on a ladder because, that's just kind of the way nursing works. And then we also see a lot of Black CNAs. We see a lot of Black medical assistants, and they're coming into the entry level either for the purpose of becoming a nurse later, or they just do that because that's just what they saw, or that was the cheapest or the fastest thing to do, but they don't go beyond that. So one is the exposure, but the other thing is really the encouragement and the support system. I have talked to so many people who said that they were on their way to nursing or they were considering nursing, but their high school counselor or their college counselor told them that maybe they should think about something else, that they should, maybe nursing isn't for you. This is not your career path. How can you say that? You didn't go through the rigors of nursing school.
Right.
How can you say this to this student? And this was not even a black student. This was a white student that told me this, but it still crushed me. This young lady told me that she was told by her counselor that she shouldn't go into nursing because she has anxiety disorder. Who are you?
That's terrible. Yeah.
How
go
many
much way.
people everybody has some type of mental health condition. And we all work on it and work through it in different ways, no matter if it's prayer, meditation, medication, faith system, whatever that is. But who are you to stop somebody from their future career path? This person has this compassion and they want to do this. This is a hard, a hard career path. We see people from birth to death at their sickest, disability, death, all of that, and we take a lot of abuse and we also take a lot of abuse to our own bodies and to our own families and lifestyles. And it's like, if you actually have somebody who wants to do this and they have the compassion for health, for better and betterment, not only of their own health, but their families and communities, why would you stop them? But every single day, students and people come to me with their testimony and tell me, and people who are nurses and stuff, they tell me that their counselor told them that they shouldn't be a nurse.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me because I do know of a few friends and colleagues from undergrad that were, they were led astray, right? Just, which is why we're seeing the disparities, if you will, with all the new tech industries and everything there. So it looks like we have two questions for you. I'm not sure who came in first, so I'm going to start with you, Romona, Myles, and then I'll come to you, Chef Keidi.
Thank you. Hi, Fallon.
Hi, Romona.
Hats off to you for what you do. My mom was a nurse for 32 years, and I had heard it all. I'm sure a lot, right?
Mhm.
A lot of what I had in mind to ask has been answered, but here at the end, something similar happened to me. I wanted to go in that direction, and my counselor, when I was in high school, told me, don't. And she said a few other things, and I think you're right. I know you're right about this, but I was just thinking about myself, and I haven't thought about this in a very long time, how often that happens, and it crushes more than just one dream, because I'm 56 now, and I'm just now in the last 5 years overcoming a lot of things that were said I couldn't do in high school,
Yeah.
by someone that you trust, your guidance counselor, someone you go to, you confide in, and when she told me that, I just was lost for a moment. And then the home structure wasn't able to provide that for me, although my mom was a professional, and our family's full of teachers and educators and people that are in the nursing field. But for some reason, I later realized, okay, well, that wasn't my path, but I still ended up doing similar things, just wasn't in that particular field, but I still end up serving people in a way similar, I guess I could say. But I moved to Naperville, so my children were pretty much, all of them went through high school, elementary school and high school. My oldest two started in high school in Naperville. They have they have programs that I don't think are in other schools the same way it is out there in Naperville. What I was shocked to see is my daughter was offered like cosmetology courses that you could take to help you when you go to register for nursing school. So you would actually start, on that path. And this is while you're in high school, as early as a junior. Therefore, you're not coming out of pocket for some of the courses that you would have to take after you graduate. So I'm not that familiar with the nursing path, but it was shocking to see that. And a lot of the girls were more so encouraged to go to the nursing program, the Black girls were, versus anyone else, you know. But I was surprised to even see that that was an option. Like, so the schools that are on the South Side, if they're not offering this, like you were saying, and these girls don't see a place for them because they don't see anybody that looks like them, or if they do, the person may be older or not very communicative, so they're not communicating any of the education or encouraging them, and for whatever reason. But I was thinking, if that school, if Naperville School has that, other suburban schools probably have similar programs. The girls, I told my daughter to let other people know that those programs exist so that they can maybe mention it to their schools and so on and so forth. And this was a few years ago, you know, and she's out of high school and stuff now. But are there programs, or is there, you know, how would you help schools, you know, bring that information into their system? Because somebody's funding these programs in these, you know, in like in Naperville, they're getting funded. So is it funded by the community, or is it funded by the government? How is it funded where those other schools can get that? You know, if I'm not really sure if I'm asking a good question or not.
No, you actually are, you know, bringing up some great points. And so that is one thing that we, you know, see as well, partially about that disparity when it comes to exposure, is the fact that, you know, when there are areas that have more, you know, money available to them, there's more opportunities to use those tax dollars to be able to make sure that programs are at those schools. And if it's not from the tax dollars, they find other creative ways to do that. On the South Side and just throughout Chicago, for instance, there is a program called the CTE, or Careers to Technical Education Program, within the Chicago Public Schools. However, there's, I think, about 8 schools spread out, and this is 8 out of the, I don't even know how many hundred high schools that we have that are CPS schools that have healthcare concentration. So you have to go to one of those schools. But one of the last things that I was aware of was that you have to live in that neighborhood to go to that school. So if you don't live in that neighborhood, you can't go to that career specific high school that talks about, you know, nursing and medicine, you know, being a doctor and pharmacist and all of these things. And then the funny thing is that students that don't even have a healthcare interest are still going to that school. So they're holding up space for students who actually want to go into healthcare. And so it's not enough out there, I guess I say. You know, there are summer programs and there are year-long programs out there that some programs offer, but some of those programs can cost. And so, you know, that's kind of the challenge there, is that there's just not enough opportunity for everyone. And so, you know, that's where some of the things that I was looking at is, you know, putting on programming where I can do things en masse. So if they can bring all of the CPS students, even if it's all on one Zoom, or if they got an all school thing, or whatever we need to do to expose them to nursing. And that's, if that's me by myself, if that's me with a panel of nurses, we could definitely do that. Because I put on a couple of different television programs last year that focused on nursing, and one of them was specific to Black men in nursing last year, where I had a panel of Black men throughout the spectrum of nurses to make sure that they saw themselves and they weren't just hearing from me, but that they heard about nursing too. But there's definitely more work to be done for our students to be more exposed, absolutely. And that's just throughout the city in general, and not just the suburbs, but Black students too.
Yeah, no, that's some really good stuff there,
That's
Fallon.
amazing.
And thank you
Yeah.
for that question
Thank
too,
you.
Ramona, just to see the disparities too between the city and the suburbs, right? We know that there's going to be some different things there. Before we come to your question there, Chef Keidi, I wanted to add, I'm going to put in the chat, I've got a good buddy that finished medical school at Meharry, and he's a dentist, a very prominent dentist here in Chicago now, Black dentist. But he just shared with me, because I'm a member of a couple of different organizations, 100 Black Men and some Divine Nine fraternities and sororities and all there. But Tennessee State University and Meharry College have just created an accelerated program for Black doctors, particularly for dentists, because they have 0 Black male doctors in the program right now. zero. And so they have agreed to pay 100% tuition in medical school for any Black male that applies over the next 3 years into that program. It's an accelerated program. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the chat there. If you all know of anyone, please share that. Let's get these brothers out there to start doing it, right? You know, that smile's our calling card, right? You know, you got to have things. But imagine if, you know, you got some of these young brothers that are saying, I'm not seeing the, you know, as you mentioned, the disparities, they're not seeing the representation, if you will, of them. But I know that cost can also be associated with why they're not attending for that. I know that was a big factor back when I attended school some years ago. But imagine you can go to undergrad and to medical school and have it 100% paid for because it's not there. I was telling my nephews about it, and they were like, "Man, Unc, I don't want to be a dentist." And I was like, "But it's paid for. Do you know how many doctors out there that don't practice? Do you know how many attorneys are out there that don't practice? Just go get the degree," right? Or something like that.
Gotta listen.
So, Chef Keidi, go for it with your question.
All right. First of all, congratulations on your life experience. Of all of the contacts and investigation I have of the medical industry, I am convinced, and I say this with all sincerity, it is the nurses who have earned our trust the most. And so I salute you and all the other nurses for what you do for gaining and retaining our trust. Question I have for Nurse Fallon today, and I hope this is not off topic from what you do, from what you presented, but your eyes and your ears on the scene, I think, are very valuable to all of us. In the first 5 months of the COVID pandemic, Blacks in the US had the absolute highest death rate for all identifiable groups in the world. The United States had the highest national death rate. Yet across all Africa, except for 3 countries, Blacks had the lowest death rate from the diagnosis. How might you explain this disparity?
That's interesting. You know, I think if you're looking at a comparison from those in Africa versus us Africans here in America, there's a different cohesiveness, togetherness, you know, I think a collective trust, I think I'll say, a community that's there for them in the different areas. Here, we are so diverse and so spread out, I think, and we've all had so many different variant experiences with healthcare and the different decisions that we like to make when it comes to our own healthcare. And I just think that we are so independent here just in the US in general, and being able to just make up our minds that we're going to do whatever we want to do, however we want to do it, I think is one. But even more so as Blacks here in America, and just, you know, we have gotten tired of being told what to do sometimes. And so it's just like, hey, I'm gonna do me. And I think that's part of what's going on. And again, that medical mistrust is there. You know, I can believe it. I see it. I've felt it sometimes myself. You know, it's hard to take in what's going on when and I think the other thing is the messages that were coming out. Because even myself as a healthcare professional, when they were saying at the time, and this is at the beginning, like you mentioned, in the first 5 months, oh, you don't have to wear a mask. Oh, now. If you're telling us that people are coughing, sneezing, laughing, why would you tell us we don't have to wear a mask? I mean, this is kind of common sense here, but you're telling us not to wear it. And then after we start seeing people at the local Walmart and at the grocery store, and our post office person is dying and all of this, and you're still saying on the news, no matter what, it's okay. No, you don't need to wear a mask. You know, that really, I think, makes us want to shut down and turn it off. You know, we turning off the computer, the social media. We're not listening to you and your news report, because obviously you don't know what you're talking about. And that's the honest truth. And so I think with us having more mistrust, we did our own thing. But with doing our own thing, and doing it in so many different ways, and then we still wanted to get together. you know, and we were exposing, and whole families, unfortunately, were dying. I mean, it's the most unbelievable thing when you see a mother, father, and all of their children all died, you know, because they still got together, and it's so hurtful, and it's such a shame that those folks lost their lives. They did what they wanted to do, but you know, at the end of the day, I really think it still goes back to the mistrust more than anything of what's happening here in the U.S., but furthermore, the collectivism.
Yeah, I think you're speaking some facts there for sure. Nurse Flowers there. We got two more questions for you, and then we'll move on to our next panelist there. Go ahead, Miss Sonia.
I just want to say, I'm going to have to jump in here, people. These some great conversations, and we know, and these some great conversations and some great questions, but we'll be here to midnight, people. I'm willing to stay. I'm willing to stay.
All
Okay.
right, I got
But we have
one
a few
more
more
after
people to
you,
get
then,
to.
Miss Sonia.
So
I'm
I
gonna
had to
keep it
jump
moving.
on in here because Vince kind of laid back over there. Okay. So I'm gonna push him along a little bit over there. Put your questions in the chat room. Ms. Flowers can go over there and answer them for you. And that's a way of continuing the conversation so that we can go to some other people. Thank you so much for being with us. And I'm just gonna have to push Vince along a little bit because I like
That's
this going
cool.
to midnight. But it's great. I wasn't expecting this, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But I want to get to everyone, and let's see if we
It
can
is
move on.
phenomenal. Thanks, Miss Sonia. So Tina, I see Tina Padilla. I see that you have your hand raised. Do you mind going ahead and putting that in the chat, and we'll have Nurse Flowers address that. And I'd like to
Well,
bring to
this is actually a question for everybody.
Okay, yeah,
because
please.
everything we're hearing, and it's with the nurse. Thank you very much for everything you said. Is not only factual. You're speaking truth to power. Is what I'm feeling. You know, I'm hearing, but I'm also feeling. And one of the things I just want to put out there with the CT, whatever the career things for CPS. What can we do as a collective, growing this community of concerned adults, helping children of, you know, that don't have direction? What can we do collectively to make more, because my sister went to LPN school at Orr High School, and now she earned her, you know, degree from the university, and she's done well, whatever. Even starting at that LPN that she got when she was 18, you know, propelled her to where she is today. How can we make sure that our public schools have these programs for anybody who's interested collectively? That's
I think that's
for
great. I'd love to
everyone.
share
It's going
it.
to be doing, we have to do this as a community. One person alone, yeah, it's, they
Yeah,
call
for
us
sure.
the lone wolf, and they don't listen to us, and they don't care. They're not paying attention. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ms. Padilla. Maybe Sonia, you and I can talk about this on the podcast, and there could be some additional information that we can share out there because similar to what, you know, everyone on this call is doing, it's about being able to share these resources, right? So we'll get that together. Thank you again. So next we're going to bring up Philip Fairweather, business consultant. Phil is also the president and CEO of Entrepreneurs Academy. You know, we've known each other for a number of years here. Many people say that we kind of look alike, which is why I put this little bow tie on that's fake, but I wanted to differentiate us. So the floor is yours, Phil.
All right. Once again, nice to see everyone. Happy New Year. Again, I'm Phil Fairweather, President and CEO of Entrepreneurs Academy. I actually started the program about 25 years ago with the Chicago Housing Authority. I was brought out as part of the federal transition team when HUD took over the Chicago Housing Authority, and my responsibility was to take public housing residents, help them start their own businesses, and then contract with city, state, and federal agencies. In the 3 years that I was there, we started 143 businesses. We contracted over $78 million, and we employed almost 5,000 people. And 2 years in a row, we won national awards under the Clinton administration for the best welfare to work program in the nation. That's when I realized I had a gift of teaching. I was a inventor of a sports training product that builds speed, endurance, and vertical jump. Before that, and I was brought out to Chicago once I sold that company. So since then, I brought it to the Urban League, to the state of Illinois. We ran Teen Reach programs all around the country. I went back, ran the Section 8 voucher program for a while, and then 2 years ago, the state funded me directly with weed tax money, money from the marijuana sales. It's supposed to be for restorative justice. So they were putting it back into the communities. And they said there's 5 ways to reduce violence in the community. Victim assistance, youth services, mental health, economic development, and reentry services. So we do 3 of those things. We work with the formerly incarcerated, because there's only 2 ways to earn a living: when they come out or before they go in. That's work for yourself or work for somebody else. We've always been a proponent for self-sufficiency. Economic development, obviously, helping people start businesses and get control of their own finances and their financial future. And mental health, that's where we are different than all the other programs that are out there. Entrepreneurs of color are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than their white counterparts because we have completely different stressors. I mean, we've got to lock ourselves behind 2 inches of bulletproof glass just to sell a chicken sandwich and fries. And they're still selling out because Vince can't go a day without a chicken sandwich. So they've got drug dealers and gangbangers hanging out in front of the store, worried about drive-by shootings during the day, just in a normal work environment. There's all these other pressures. And then, you know, many of the businesses are trying to hire from within the community. So, but if you've got a young lady that's coming in with bruises every couple of weeks because she's in a domestic violence situation, you as that entrepreneur and community leader, you can't just look the other way. You have to find ways to intervene and get them some help and you know work with your people. So we started weaving mental health into all of our curriculum. And you know, we don't deal with things like paranoid schizophrenia or anything like that, but we talk about changing bad habits or fight or flight syndrome, dealing with entrepreneurial depression, anxiety, imposter syndrome, because you know, a lot of our brothers and sisters don't believe they belong there in the first place. They just feel like they're trying something, and then their social circle is their worst enemy. Some of their family members are the ones that are saying, "Why are you even doing that? You're never going to be, you know, successful at that. You're wasting your time," and don't really have the network. So when I first created this, I knew that I needed to have people on board like Vince that are half street and half academic, right? We got to be able to communicate to our folks in a way that makes sense. So the other aspect outside of just helping people start businesses, I really wanted to bring a tech component into the program because we're always left behind in tech. I forget, it was talking about it earlier. Oh, I think it was Romona talking about the 5-inch floppies, right? The floppy disks when we're putting those in computers. When I first came to Chicago, you know, all these companies were dumping their computers into public housing and saying, "Oh, we're going to help bridge the digital divide," you know, and they're dumping 286 and 386 computers because they're obsolete to them. So we're learning on antiquated technology and still can't compete in the workforce once we learn those technologies, and we're always behind. So we looked at a couple of technologies that are kind of plug and play. They're sexy, so they'll draw some attention, and they are much more than minimum wage. So we looked at 3D printing. So we have a 3D printing program working with artists and that type of technology, and drone photography. So we're teaching people how to fly drones. We're working with the state, with Cook County Assessor's Office right now. We're going to do a pilot program with them to do assessments of 1,000 properties. They get about 50,000 reassessments every year. So we're trying to build the pilots that can go out into that field. And that's a $200 an hour career opportunity just for a gamer who knows how to play video games. And we teach them how to translate those skills into flying an actual drone and starting a business with that. We've got urban farming and culinary arts because, you know, to the mantra of Chef Keidi, our slogan is building wealth and wellness. Because if you're not healthy, you're not going to be a successful entrepreneur. If you're a successful entrepreneur and you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? So we have culinary arts, urban farming, so we teach people how to grow their own foods and incorporate those things into their diet, a healthy living lifestyle, a mental health, taking care of their mental health and breaking down the stigma, because in our communities, you know, we're taught to just suck it up, keep moving. We made it through slavery. What do we need what do we need a therapist for, right? So we're trying to break down the stigma of seeking mental health. And if our students come through and they start saying, yeah, you know what, I think I would like to talk to somebody. If they don't have insurance or can't cover the expense, we'll pay for it for them. So we're trying to approach economic development and our brothers and sisters in a little bit different way. And that's why I think we've been really successful so far. Our first semester under this funding, we had 7 students. One of them died during the semester. The second semester, we had 60. The third semester, we had 95. And 150 trying to get in, and now we've already for the next semester, which is coming up at the end of February, what do we have, over 75 as of today?
As of today, yeah, and we'll probably look at over 150 that are trying to get in.
Yeah, probably closer to 200.
Yeah.
So that's what we do, and we help in all aspects of business, whether it's, you know, figuring out your budget, getting financing, helping get grants, getting MBE, WBE certified. Both Vince and I have run Illinois Small Business Development Centers before, so we just kind of recreated the services over there, but put a few twists on it so that it's more specific to our communities.
Excellent. Really good stuff, Phil. And again, I'm excited to be on board and keep helping you take this dream to the next level. It looks like we have a question from Minnie. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
It's not a question statement. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm with you on restorative justice because we got some of that money too. We got it for a couple. We got it because we do expungements. So we take 50 people every 2 months. We meet them at the police station. If they can't get there to get their fingerprints, we'll pay for their ride. We pay for their fingerprints, and we pay for their lawyer. We have a legacy program. We do policy work. We do a lot of stuff in the community surrounding restorative justice. So I would love to click with y'all, and maybe we can might work on some stuff together. I mean, I do over 100 and something resource fairs during the summer. I mean, during the year, where we go out, pass out information, talk to people. We do non-cannabis events. We host our own resource fairs like every 4 months, where we go out and pass out household goods, meet people from housing and all kind of different places all over the community, and share our resources with people.
Yeah, we'd love to talk to you about that, Minnie, because that's been one of our challenges, is getting in front of the formerly incarcerated or folks that have been justice impacted. And a lot of people don't even want to identify that way. And we keep telling them, you know, this isn't about judgment. This is so that we can keep getting funding to run these programs for you, because they want to make sure that it's getting to the right populations. We had a class of 35 brothers and sisters, many of them tatted up, and not one person said they'd ever had an issue with the law. I know that's not the case. I've had the issue with the law. I'm the instructor.
Right, and I run into that every day when I'm out on the field trying to get people to do expungements. Oh, I don't know nobody been to jail. I mean, all this attitude, what they got to do with the world? People have been to jail. Some people didn't even do what they said would done. They didn't even get convicted, but they still got a record, and it's following them around. You know what I'm saying? Just petty stuff. So people always want to shun somebody. You don't know what nobody been through or where they been. You know what I'm saying? Or what you didn't even, you can even have a record and we'll never know because people just so ashamed of what they done or where they been, but it is what it is. I had a background, but it's cleared up now. My own program took care. I'm straight. So, and we've been doing our thing. So yeah.
Yeah, so we'd love to talk to you about how we can network together. That'd be great.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Phil, if you don't mind, can you put the or I can put the information in for them to access the website too?
Yeah.
I'll put that in.
And I put my email
Good.
address in there as well if you want
Oh,
to
excellent.
reach out
Excellent.
directly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any
that
other
would be nice
questions
because
there
I
for
can send
Phil?
you a package of everything we got going on. So if you send me your email, then I can send you whatever we got going on.
Yeah, it's in the
Awesome.
chat. It's higher up in the chat. It's like probably the 4th or 5th.
Okay. And it looks like
I'll
again
do it again though.
this podcast or this is being recorded. So Chicago Black Business Network will end up having this information to share for us moving forward. And I think we'll end up creating some reels and things from this because you guys, this is chock full of some great nuggets of information because everyone is sharing some really powerful stuffs there. So Philip, thank you again for all the information that you're sharing and all the great work that you're doing, particularly in the community that's addressing for entrepreneurship and health and wellness there. So next up, I'd like to bring Dr. Anthony Gantt, who's an author, a publisher, and a business coach. So Dr. Gantt, if you don't mind unmuting yourself, and I will spotlight you.
Sounds good. Okay. I'm here. And I'm running out of ink, man, writing all these notes that you all dropping out here. So it's a pleasure for me being here. So thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. So I'm getting more out of the information that people have shared. So I'm a published author, a business person, business consultant. I haven't written 53 books like Chef. I only written 22. So
Not yet, right?
Not yet, right? I got to get some work done. He inspired me. But I write in the self-help, mental health space as well as the business entrepreneurship genres, and those areas where I stay the most. I am a United States veteran, so I did some time in the United States Navy. After that point, I ended up going into real estate, having a pretty successful career there, and then I started writing books and something that the nurse was talking about, Nurse Fallon. Back in the day, I don't do it as much now, but back in the day, I used to volunteer with groups of people and go to the high schools, and if they can't see it, they can't be it, right? So when you have 20 different occupations there, and these kids can see these things, then maybe somebody will want to get insurance, or maybe someone will want to get into nursing. But if all I see is the neighborhood, and the only professionals I see are teachers, and that's not a bad thing, but I don't see any other professionals, it's kind of hard to see something else. It reminds me what Ice-T said. He said the reason why he didn't see anything in the hood because all the doctors and lawyers and dentists, they moved out the hood to the suburbs. So everything that's left was that looked pretty advertising this, the gang leader and the drug dealer, because there was nothing else for them to see. So obviously with what we do, obviously we need to be out there and do some things. So one reason why I emphasize books as much, books kind of saved my life. I was a poor reader as a child. And when I went through the Chicago public school system, I went into the Navy because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I already had two cousins that were like brothers that successfully went into the military and did their thing and came out. So I had already felt that I can do the same thing because I'd seen it. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just said I figure it out and get paid at the same time. I didn't do well in school, so I wasn't even thinking about college, so that wasn't even on my agenda. So I went into the military, did pretty well there, and then eventually moved and transitioned out into business because someone offered me an opportunity to get involved with business. And what I learned, and I still see this today with other people, and this is one reason why I consult with them, is that a lot of people, they may be great employees, but just because you're a great employee does not mean you're a great entrepreneur. You may have skills to do well at your job, but that don't mean that you have skills to do well as an entrepreneur because you have to learn those skills. And I see a lot of people they jump out of their jobs too fast. They're not ready because I'm glad the Entrepreneurship Academy is here because they can get ready while they have a job. I'd say that's the best time for a person to open up a business is when they have a job because they don't have the stresses of the business having to fund their life, so they can actually get involved with the learning curve that's out there, so that they can actually do better when they do step full time in business, so they can transition slowly into a business. But your skill set will determine how well financially set would you'll be. And when you don't have very many skills, then it's kind of hard to earn money with very few skills. Because being an entrepreneur, you can't wait on somebody to tell you what to do. You got to be self-disciplined. And I heard that with Chef, and obviously there's Fallon and everyone else that's spoken so far, Phil, and everyone else, right? That I realized one time before as an entrepreneur, I was the worst boss that I ever had. And what I mean by that, I let me get away with anything. I let me start late. I let me have 4-hour lunches. I let me quit early. I let me skip 3 days at a time. And I realized I was very undisciplined. Even though I spent time in the military, but it's easy to do what people tell you to do. That's not hard to do. It's easy for somebody tell you be somewhere at 8 o'clock, otherwise we're gonna write you up. Well, it's easy to look like you know what you're doing. But when you get on your own and you tell you to be there at 8 o'clock, but you stand to be at the 10, that means that we need some better habits, need some more self-discipline. And this is the beginning of the year. Usually you hear people saying, hey, this is gonna be my year. They got a rhyme with it. I'm gonna do more in 24, all this stuff, right? And by the end of the month, they kind of fell off because of lack of self-discipline. So I'm a stickler on being disciplined, controlling yourself, telling yourself what to do, and then doing what you told yourself to do. And that takes a while to get to that skill set. It doesn't take 20 years, but it does take some time to get to that skill set. And I mean, I was a single father and raised a son and a daughter who they're old, not me, but they're 31 and 28. But I still talk to them today about you got to be consistent. It's good to start something, but you got to be consistent. You got to conquer procrastination. You got to do all these different things, because any day you can procrastinate. I mean, it's right around the corner. It's telling you, put that off, do it tomorrow, do it next week. And the more you put off doing what you should or can do, the further you put off what you should and can't have. And then eventually you keep putting it off so far, you may die before it even happens. So I always try to emphasize to people when they're trying to get involved with business to actually learn from people. I mean, there's an academy, Entrepreneurship Academy. Go there, learn a skill set, because you're going to need it as you get out here, and you're going to need it 10 years from now if you're going to stay in business, or 20 years from now. So I emphasize on, you have to focus every day on finding customers. You got to do that. I mean, I don't care what business you have. You can have a grocery store, a restaurant. You can be a entrepreneur, just someone's sole proprietor. It can be insurance. It can be real estate. It can be whatever it may be. But you have to actually put yourself in a position that you have to find a customer every day. And even if you had 100 of them yesterday, that was yesterday. So I tell people, I learned this and this is just a mentality I had for the last 30 years, that every day I wake up unemployed. And when you're unemployed, you need to go find work to do. And so every day I try to go find work to do. I didn't say I don't go look for a job, I go look for work. And work is finding a customer or servicing a customer or doing some research and development to help customers better or find more customers, or you're extending your sales parameters and extending your market, knowing how to brand, knowing how to deal with different people, know how to deal with different people in different states, different industries. So all these things have to be learned, because when you're an entrepreneur, you got to kind of do it yourself, so to speak, not do it by yourself, but kind of do it yourself and make yourself do it. So I kind of emphasize those things. I like what you all have with the mental health piece. Back in my day, we used to call it positive thinking, but we changed. That was mental health in our day. But mental health, I think, is very important. And unfortunately, a lot of times people, like I said, it's such a stigma to seeing a therapist or seeing a counselor. And I always ask people, do you know what the word therapy means? The word therapy actually means healing. So if you knew that you need to be healed, why would you run away from healing? If you need to be at the hospital to get some medicine or pharmacy, why would you run away from a healing? But because we don't know that therapy is healing, you got a bad leg and you get a physical therapist to help you with your leg, you don't think that's wrong. When you just had knee surgery, you say, oh, that's a good idea. But when you got something mentally not going right and we say you need a therapist, we think, oh, something wrong with me. You're trying to call me crazy. Well, nobody said you was crazy when you had to get your knee rehabilitated. you needed therapy to strengthen the leg, and the therapist will give you some tools. So when they're gone, you should be doing whatever they told you to do so that you can cope with your life better. So I'm big on having coping skills or having better coping skills so that you can cope with life better, because life gonna keep lifing. Life's not gonna stop lifing just because it's January. It's gonna do what it does. So I'm big on those things, on goal setting. I try to emphasize to people that you should write a book, just to kind of give your recipe in life. I got this years ago, and I realized that when I was out, you go to someone's homegoing, celebration, funeral, whatever term you may want to use for it, and you get their obituary and you read through it. They might have done a lot, or maybe done a little, but it's not a whole lot about them, because you can only put so much in an obituary. But could you imagine if your mom and dad would have wrote a book on how they made it across the street or whatever they did, and they moms and dad wrote books, and this stuff being passed down the generation? Could you imagine if when you pass away, everybody got a book when you pass away and not just the obituary? They learn your philosophy on business, learn your philosophy on parenting, learn your philosophy on health, learn your philosophy on whatever you do. Could you imagine what that would do for the next generation? Because I found that every generation seemed like we always starting over. This happened to mama and grandmama, but I didn't even know nothing about it. So everybody's starting at ground zero. So it's kind of like obvious why we're so behind. If I'm making the same mistakes my daddy made, and he made them 20 years before I got here, but he never told me how to avoid the mistake, and the same brick wall he hit, I hit, then I raise a child and I don't tell him how to avoid the brick wall. So he hit the same brick wall that I hit and that granddaddy hit. So we always gonna be behind. We handle finances a certain way. My daddy gambled and said he trying to hit the numbers, playing policy. Then I come in, I want to try to hit the lottery. Then my son come up and say he gonna try to play dice. Well, I mean, we all gambling. We gonna play, stuff online. Well, because we don't have a recipe, I tell people all the time, I don't know everything and not trying to know everything. What I know is like a glass of water, and compared to the Atlantic Ocean, I just know a little, right? But I got a recipe or two. And since I got a recipe or two, it worked for me. Hey, here's the recipe to bake this cake. Maybe it worked for you too. Maybe I can help save you a year, or help you save you 2 years or 5 years on your transit or your journey in life, because I already hit that brick wall, fell in that hole, and this is how you avoid that hole. And sometimes I think we don't share that information like that enough to people. So that's why I'm an advocate of writing books, advocate of encouraging people to write books, not to be a bestseller, not, it's cool if you become that, but why don't we just write books to be best helpers? Why don't you just help the people behind you? Because the truth of the matter is, I'm not going to remember everything you say, but page 5 is always page 5. And if people keep obituaries in a little folder, could you imagine what they do with a book? They'll keep that on the shelf too. And then maybe your child will come along and say, oh, Dad, I see you got a book on the shelf. Then they read it 10 years later. And so those are the type of things I do and share with people on doing those things. And I do a lot of seminars. I help a lot of independent book authors sell their books, because even though they wrote a book, I have nothing against the Amazons of the world, but I don't see why you write a book and give them 70%. I don't understand how those numbers work. Give them 70% and then let them keep the customer. To me, that don't make much sense, because if you don't have data and customers, how you gonna sell them another book or sell them another thing that you have if you don't have the information? Amazon had the information, so Amazon's selling them something else. You sold them one book, Amazon sold them 100 things for the next 5 years. So I try to, I'm the owner of the books, the website or web store called unknowngreatness.com. So we just buy some things, and that's what people that write books, they can put them on our store. We give 100%. So, and we give you the customer. Now you pay us a monthly fee of like $40 a month to be on the store, but you get the customer and you get the whole book price. Unlike an Amazon, when you got a $20 book and they get $14 and give you 6, and they keep the customer. You got to sell a whole bunch of books. You got to be, Oprah Winfrey or Barack Obama to make some money in that thing if you're giving away 70% of the money. So
That's
I try to
phenomenal.
show people how to do this thing well. I'm sorry, I talked a little bit long. So
No, you're doing great. I know I end up allowing a little more time for some of the others there, but we are coming up towards the end. I put their website into the chat there, www.unknowngreatness.com, so that more can get in there. And I see that some of the others are sharing their contact information in there. So if you had not had the opportunity to share your contact information, because this is what we love to do, is to build these networks and have something more like this. We had another panelist, Harold Dennis, who is a film and TV acting coach, but I know he was having some technical difficulties with getting in and being able to access his site there. So what I'm going to recommend, since we're at 7:26, is that, Sonia, we do another one of these where we can kind of keep this going. And what do you all think? I mean, do you find that this was helpful, a good opportunity for us to find out about, some others that are out there, what we're doing, how we can contribute to help one another, how we can build this network? I'm all in if you'll have me back. I see
Absolutely.
Jerome, I see you saying it there. Say that again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that Harold is in. We could take a couple of minutes to let him speak. And Jay is here. Jerome Lee is here.
Yeah,
So
I see
give us
Jerome and
10
Jay
more
too.
minutes, people. You got 10 more minutes for us.
I definitely do. I'm okay here. Yeah. So if you guys do, please, let's go ahead. Harold, if you can unmute yourself and go ahead and tell us about your experiences, your business there, and let us do. And I know, Harold, you just completed Entrepreneurs Academy's Fleet course, so you better do good or I'm coming after you.
I don't know. Maybe he's still having difficulty.
Yeah, I don't see
They're
him coming
moving
on in
over
there.
there. That's okay.
All right, Jerome, you want to tell us a little bit about yours?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, how y'all doing this evening?
Excellent, man.
Great.
Good, that's good. Yeah, I'm a firearm instructor. I teach the concealed carry for Illinois, also for Florida and Wisconsin, also in Utah. Sorry. Also teach. I'm a firearm instructor for Illinois firearms instructor as well. So I teach also arm and armed security as well. Basically, I just, I'm just, I don't really have anything to say, but I do want to know that, I do want you all to let y'all know that I am available if y'all want to talk on a personal level as far as safety for yourself and for your family.
Appreciate that, Jerome. Can you tell us, are you an officer? I mean, what's your experience? Are you military or?
No, I'm not military, but I do have I do have military training and law enforcement training as far as the training process. So I do teach police officers and military firearms training and other tactical training.
Awesome credentials. Yeah, we know it's some hard times out here, and we've had, I've had some entrepreneurs and students share with me just some of the challenges that they're having today because people are still continuing to see, just things happening because of COVID and being laid off of work and just the economic disparities that are continuing to happen. So being able to protect yourself, especially as an entrepreneur too, right? Those that want to take what you're working for, continue to come in there.
So so it has been an uprise in the Chicago area with a lot of crimes, especially dealing with carjackings and the smash and grab with entrepreneurs and various stores and pop-up stores. There's been a lot of that. So up uprise like 20% in Chicago. And it's getting really bad. It's gonna get worse before it get better.
Yeah, for sure. Well, here's what I'd love to do. Again, we were a small but mighty group, and I know we've heard from a lot of us. I see, Harold, that you put some information in the chat there for us since you were having some technical difficulties there. So thank you so much for that. Ms. Zamora, are you still on? Can you introduce yourself and your company for us? We'll just kind of go around. No, did you step away? Okay. Mr. Phillips, how about yourself? You unmute yourself and tell us your business and what you do. You step away as well. All right, and Ms. Padilla.
Actually, I was eating and you caught me with a bite on my sorry.
I'm jealous because my stomach is grumbling now. And
I
Philip,
couldn't step
chicken. He
away.
told you I love chicken now. Yeah, go
No,
for it.
this has been wonderful. Thank you, Ramona, for inviting me. I didn't know was gonna be so empowering and helpful for. I'm from um, South America. I'm from Venezuela.
Nice.
But it's great to engage with this community.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of a lot of Venezuelans are coming here to Chicago as a sanctuary city. And so we're embracing them and seeing how, maybe we can create a bilingual course, to help them to empower. And we always say, if you can't work for yourself, you're right, you work for someone else. But if you realize that you don't want to be an entrepreneur, now you're a better employee because you understand the challenges and the trials and tribulations, if you will, that employers go through. So good stuff, Moya. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I know I caught you off guard.
Yeah, you did. I was not expecting to talk, but thank you. And I'm a health coach, and I work with people who has chronic pain. I'm sorry, I just ate.
Yeah.
And holistically, so it was very interesting to hear Keidi. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong also. But it was very interesting to hear the facts and the data that you have collected over all these years, plus I believe your experience as well. I will work with people who have pain in the same way. I'm with holistic tools. I am a competitor. I did my first competition and I got really, really sick. And that was the reason I became a pain specialist. Yeah, I cut a lot of years. And yeah, this is my first year online.
Okay.
So meeting people and connecting, and it's been wonderful.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you. What did you say that Ramona had invited you to this?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we know that Ramona, you are in Egypt, so you are like pushing 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning there.
Yeah, it's 3:30, 3:34.
Is that right? So I love
That's
it.
okay. I've got some energy. This has been an amazing experience.
That
I'll
right?
be sleepy right when we finish.
I love it. I love it. And again, Mr. Phillips, I'm sorry to put you there on the spot. You said I'm having a TMI moment there. No worries. We got you.
I'm back.
Okay. All right. No worries. Just introduce yourself, brother, and let us know what you're doing.
All right. I'm Gregory Phillips, also affectionately known as Greg Phillips L in Chicago. I do business loan, networking, and consultation. I learned how to position myself in a way with the skill set that I learned with origination and processing to approach other brokers and private lenders like, hey, why don't my LLC partner with you all? The traffic that I bring, we split the commission since I know what I'm doing. And that made it a much easier way to like stand on the shoulders of giants instead of trying to do it all myself, and instead of trying to go up their chutes and ladders or their echelons and stuff like that, people possibly getting jealous and all that type of stuff. Just better to use some collaborative partnerships. I started off wholesaling almost 10 years ago. The laws and stuff changed, but when it comes to the procurement of property, being able to put people together, there's still a whole lot of ways to do that. So I'm working in the inner cities, especially in the 20th Ward and a few other places, with some collaborative partnerships with some more brothers and sisters to mitigate the food desert issues in places, and also elder housing. It's a lot of elders out here that are quite upset with how they're being treated in places. So there's some more real estate opportunities with co-op housing.
I love it.
I'm
man.
also in the payment processing, and I'm just getting off in the credit education and restoration. So I know that sounds like a lot of eyes burning on the stove, but it can make a full course meal because I'm trying to use the oven as well. So I'm really all about collaborative partnerships, learning, growing, seeing how we can work together.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are always more business opportunities where there are solutions that can be gaps that can be bridged. And there's always more solutions when there are more problematic, quote unquote, opportunities. So my thing is to just be solution based, be eclectic, collaborative, and therefore effective. But I won't hold y'all too long. I love
No
it.
worries, man. I appreciate you sharing.
Invite
If
me
you don't
back
mind,
again.
put your contact information in the chat there if you can.
Yes, sir.
Definitely log in because we're logging this and we like to create that in. And then Miss Wright, are you available? Can you unmute yourself and just tell us what you do? Or there you go.
Sure. Okay.
Excellent. Hey.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure hearing everyone's business experience and all of the wonderful things that people are doing. I founded Young Master Builders in Motion. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Our main mission originally started serving young women who are orphans, adoptees, and foster youth who have aged out. However, a lot of our educational programs and cultural enrichment programs, we've had men, women, and those who are seniors to come out. So we're actually expanding our scope to include a lot more people since they are attracted to what we do and we love having them. And so glad to be here and glad to share a spill about Young Master Builders in Motion and look forward to the next event you guys plan.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Wright, for sharing that. And one more time, Young Master Builders
In Motion.
in Motion. In motion. My brain is running because I'm thinking if there's some ways that we can do some workshops for those that are aging out of the foster care system and show them how to, start their own business or take a passion or a hobby of theirs and take it to that next level.
Absolutely. That's what we
Really
want to
good
do.
stuff. All
Yes,
right. I
sir.
love it. I love it. So, all right. I think I got everyone there that's in this. This has been, wow, an incredible way to, I say, mark the 10th day of 2024. We have come together as a people, as a network, as an ecosystem, if you will, to share what we're doing and how we can work together. And it sounds like we're doing some good stuff, but we're going to keep doing it together too. So, Ms. Perdue, thank you for this opportunity to come together, to be with Chicago Black Business Network, to be a part. I know you've got the Shopping Black Chicago publication that's going to be coming forward, that's on the horizon there. I think she's going to be reaching out to, of course, everyone who's reached out to this to be a part of that. This is going to be phenomenal. I love seeing this growth and this trajectory of what it is that you're doing. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it and share some of the great things that we're doing, and also to get to meet everyone that's on this call tonight. It's 7:40. Thank you for giving us about 10 more minutes of your time. Sonia, I'll let you have the parting words and shut it down there. So please go for it.
Absolutely, Vince. I want to thank you for doing an excellent job. And this was the first one. I'm so excited. I love creating things. And then all of you made this so great for me. Oh my goodness, you just don't even know. And so we're going to come back and reformat it and work it and work it and work it. And I think this is a great service that you all have presented us with. I'm gonna have to take 5 more minutes. I'm gonna let my buddy Tina say 5 minutes, Tina, because she did not get to share what it is that she does. And then I'll close it out in like 2 minutes. Tina, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm on my phone and I can't find the camera, so I'm just gonna leave it off. My name is Tina Padilla. I'm recently retired, 1 year retired from being a math teacher with Chicago Public Schools. And I sat on the Chicago Public School Pension Fund for 12. I was elected by my peers. I served 4 terms. And while I was sitting at the pension fund, I just saw how horribly we were fraudulently misrepresented. And now I started a nonprofit. Well, I have to go and get the nonprofit tax part of it, but I'm registered with the state as a nonprofit. I started a little blog. I'm posting the meetings and educating the teachers because we're busy and they want, we cannot invest our money individually the way we can invest our money collectively. And the Chicago Teacher Pension Fund is a 130-year-old fund. So that's old money. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I am educating myself more. I'm also a mortgage broker, an originator, and I'm working on getting my certified financial planner, endorsement certificate. So along with the nonprofit, and I'm working with CTU, and hopefully, like the community, no one person can move, do the things that we can do collectively. That's all I want to say. But thank you. I'm learning so much from you all, and I'm just trying to connect to a community where this is my mental health, where I can listen to other people say, tell us what they did, inspiring words. This was my mental health moment. Thank you very much. Love everybody.
Tina, that was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Thank you,
share.
Tina.
Yeah,
Thank you
really
so
great
much.
share.
That's my buddy. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. And some of you I've been connected with for quite a while. And I am just so blessed. The people that I've connected with Chicago's Black Business Network, I could have never known 10, 11 years ago that I would connect with hundreds and hundreds of brilliant, creative people. And this is what it comes to right here. And you are my joy. And I hope to see you all on the next.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Be safe.
Ask an expert so much for being with us, all of
And
you,
have a
each and every
prosperous
one.
new
Love
year.
you all. Goodbye. Happy
All right, have a good evening.
Have a
All
great
right, y'all.
night.
I love
Thanks, everybody. Y'all take care.
Thank you, Sonja.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.